part of this work, and to be able to support organizations like yours who are doing the on-the-ground work of making sure kids in our community have what they need to thrive. So we're kind of that, I like to think of it, the icing on the cake to help you achieve your goals with the kids who you are working with. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I have a PowerPoint. We've got a big group today, and I'm really, really excited to be able to present our program to you and also answer your questions. Kiana is going to be keeping an eye on the chat for questions that come in, so we may kind of pause briefly as we go on. I hope to be able to answer most of your questions through the presentation, and then we'll have time afterwards for question and answer as well. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And there we go. So we should see, oops. Do you guys see the PowerPoint?
Yes, we can see your PowerPoint.
All right, we're in business then. So we're going to go ahead and talk first about our mission. So Tickets for Kids, we are a nonprofit organization similar to many of your organizations. We are an organization that's dedicated to creating equitable access to the cultural assets of our region for kids from under-resourced communities so they can both participate in and benefit from the cultural wealth of our community. We work with kids age 0 to 25. That's one of the biggest questions I always get asked. What do you consider a kid? So 0 to 25 is our technical catchment for those kids. A little bit of history about the organization. So we were founded back in 1994. We've been doing this work for quite a while, for over 30 years now. The genesis of the program, how it all got started, was our founder showed up at an event, looked around and saw empty seats and said, hey, is there a way we can connect these empty seats, these opportunities with kids in our community who otherwise, their family wouldn't have the resources to access this type of experience. And that is at the core still the work that we are doing today. We transitioned from a private charity to a public nonprofit in 2002. Much of our growth has been through mergers. So we grew into the DMV area during the pandemic when we merged with a group called Most Valuable Kids DC. Some of you may have heard of them, some of you not. They've been around for quite a while and primarily focused on tickets to sporting events. When I came on in 2022, we really, my mission was to grow the opportunities. So we have a lot of sporting. Of course, sports stadiums are large with lots of seats, but you'll also see that we've got lots of opportunities for kids to access arts and culture, recreation, different types of experiences that are all ticketed. So as I mentioned, I came on board in April of 2022, and we are just continuing to grow our impact and our reach here in the DC area. As the regional manager, my responsibilities are kind of threefold. I'm responsible for connecting with and bringing on board new partner organizations like yours, youth serving partners. I'm also responsible for going out and finding ticketing relationships, donors who want to donate the tickets to us to make them available to you. And then finding resources to keep our program going. So that's a little bit about the organization itself. Our goal is to support you. So again, our model is that we accept donated tickets from all sorts of area organizations. We make those opportunities available to kids through partnerships with youth serving organizations like yours. So what we offer is the ability to streamline the process of finding opportunities of things to do with your kids, enriching things to do with your kids. We become an additional resource for you to help advance the goals of your organization. And when surveyed, 69% of our youth serving partners share that they would not be able to accomplish their developmental goals without working with Tickets for Kids and having access to these extra experiences. I saw there was a question about public versus private charity. A public charity means that we follow all of the guidelines that the IRS sets forward. You know, we have to fill out we have to be audited, and a whole number of different requirements from the IRS to be a public charity. The Tickets for Kids model. So a little bit about how we operate. So I mentioned we offer opportunities for you to get tickets out to the kids who you're working with. We offer a simple, streamlined online application and onboarding process. Kiana actually just went through that, so she has a good feel for what that is all about. Once you as an organization would assign a main point of contact to manage the relationship with between your organization and Tickets for Kids, that orientation is done via Zoom. There are no mandatory fees to participate in our program. We are a donor-funded program, and it's important to us that we don't put any additional barriers to accessing these enriching opportunities for your kids. So there are no fees to participate. I will say we have an annual fundraising appeal, just like everybody else. We are a nonprofit, so if you find value, if your organization finds value, you're always welcome to make a contribution to that annual appeal. Your organization would then utilize our program to make long-term impact for the youth who you serve. And the only thing that we require of you is to report on feedback from the experiences. So after you use tickets, whether it's to a baseball game or to the symphony or to an amusement park, we ask you to come back and provide us with some feedback within a week, including testimonials. If you're allowed to share photographs, that's great. And then we have what we call our post-event report that you would complete on our portal after you use tickets. And as far as ticket donations go, we work with a whole variety of different venues. Corporations donate tickets, individuals, pretty much if anyone has ticket donation, we will take it. Once we receive that donation, we host an online portal that all of our partners have access to. So it's kind of a self-service model. Once you're registered with us, you have access to make a ticket request for any of the events that are on our portal. You can log in 24/7 to make those requests, although we are only working Monday through Friday between 8:30 and 5 p.m. And our ticketing team, I have a counterpart on our ticketing team up in Pittsburgh who's managing all of that day to day. So they are looking at the requests that come in, letting you know if we have the inventory to fill that request, and then sending you the tickets. I do like to point out that a request is a request. When we will let you know if we can fulfill that request. A request is not a guarantee. So our associates are working all day, every day to match requests to the inventory that we have and handle the logistics of getting the tickets out to the participants. So I will point out also the way that we work is tickets are sent to the main point of contact who manages the relationship between Tickets for Kids and your organization. Then you would be responsible for forwarding them on to the people who will be attending the event.
Rachel, we do have a few questions in the chat.
Okay.
I'll read them to you. Michael asked, what kind of post-event feedback, where'd it go? What kind of post-event feedback is most useful to your organization?
Anything that can really demonstrate the impact of the experience. We don't necessarily need to hear about how many home runs were made at the game. What we want to hear about are the conversations that the kids had with each other or that the adults and the kids had together. What did it mean for a child to have a first-time experience to something new? Did it inspire them? Were they excited about it? Anything that can really kind of personalize what those experiences were all about is very, very helpful for us. And feedback that we provide back to the donors because the donors are not on contract with us. They do not have to donate the tickets. So we like to, on an ongoing basis, share what these moments mean to the kids who are getting to have them.
Perfect. We have another question from Deanna. Is there a maximum or minimum amount of tickets required to request?
2 tickets would be the minimum. The maximum would depend on the event itself. So sometimes we only have 2 tickets to an event, so that would be it. Sometimes there are, we'll say, each group can only request up to 10 tickets for a given event. So each event is different. And we just recommend that you read the instructions on the portal, and you'll know at that point what the requirements are. We say 2 tickets because it's always 1 adult and 1 child would be the minimum.
Great. Do you have the link to register for the portal?
We will provide that to you after the presentation.
How long does it take for a request to be confirmed?
That is a great question. It depends. So tickets come to us in a variety of ways. Sometimes I'll use the example of baseball because we're in baseball season right now. The team might say at the beginning of the year, these are the games we're giving you tickets for. This is the number of tickets we can give per game. And that's, we know that in April all the way through September. But then sometimes we'll get tickets, we can give you 50 tickets to an event coming up in 3 days. So we obviously have to prioritize events chronologically because we need to make sure that events that are coming up are prioritized. So you might put a request in now for a game in September, but you may not get approved for that until a little bit later in the season.
Perfect. We have a few more questions for you, Rachel. Can you share a link to the slides?
Yes.
I work at a high school. Do we need chaperones always to attend select events?
Yes, you will always need to have somebody over the age of 21 accompanying the kids.
What if you were the one who wants to host the event and work with Tickets for Kids to give out tickets? Or is this just for sports events?
Yes, we'd be happy to work with you on any events that you might have that you have tickets for.
And what is the frequency of updates for the events?
Let's see if updates for the events. Can you clarify that? Because I'm not exactly sure.
Deanna, do you want to come off mute and ask that if you're in a space where you can?
Yes. Okay, so this is the context of the question. So I'm planning to do an attendance awareness campaign next year at my school. And so if at the end of the quarter, if there's like a certain event that can serve as like an incentive for those students who have most improved attendance. And so knowing like the frequency of updates of events, in advance to plan.
Yeah, so I mean, as soon as we know if we have a donation, we'll put it on the portal. It's one thing that is a little it's a little counterintuitive, but we ask you to only request tickets for people who are able and confirm that they can attend the event if the ticket is awarded. So when our school partners especially use tickets as an incentive, it's more like, okay, we get to the end of the year, you get to pick of what's available. You could pick an event to go to put a ticket request in for. But we can't guarantee that we're going to be able to give you tickets to something that far ahead of time. So it's more like, here's what's available, and it's for you to pick from that you could put a request in for.
Thank you, Rachel. We have one more question and then we'll continue, and y'all can keep sending them in and I'll update them for Rachel when we have another time to pause. Last question for this section is there a number of times we need to request tickets in a year in order to remain in your system?
Great question. We have no minimums, no maximums. We basically use on the back end technology. If you have not logged into the system in 2 years, then we will reach out to find out if you're still interested in remaining a partner with us. But there are no minimums or maximums for actually making ticket requests.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. I think that's
Okay.
all the questions. I think I caught up on all of them. If I missed anyone's questions, feel free to direct message me.
Great. Okay, so did
Oh, we have
we,
someone with a hand raised. Deja? Oh, you lowered your hand. Never mind.
Yeah, sorry.
All right.
My connection is acting a little wonky. Do you mind sending me the recorded version of this info session, please?
We are recording it and we will upload it and have it sent out within the next few business days. Good question.
Thank you.
Of course.
all right, so to kind of put everything together, this is how our program works. Tickets for Kids will onboard youth serving partners such as yours that are supporting kids in our community who can use our help. We host an online portal where you will be able, once you're registered, you will be able to find all of the events and make a ticket request. You log in, you review events, you make requests. If you are approved for tickets, we will send you that notice along with the directions of how to access the tickets. Some tickets are mobile tickets, some tickets will be picked up at the box office. So we send you the instructions of how you will access your tickets. That goes to the main contact who will then forward the tickets to the chaperone / recipients who are attending the event. One of the biggest questions I get asked is, does staff need to be present at all of these events? And the answer is no. We only ask there be a chaperone who is a trusted adult over the age of 21 to accompany the kids on the experience. And we just ask that you have the chaperone be responsible for providing you the feedback that you're looking for. So that's one of the biggest questions I do get. The Tickets for Kids office is open Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. All of your questions, anything that needs to happen during those times. A lot of events are on the weekend. So we really ask that you pay attention to events that are coming up on the weekend and be sure to contact us before the end of the day on Friday if you have any questions. So that is a little bit about the program and just kind of in a nutshell how it all works. Some of our current partners, I haven't even updated this with all of them. We continue to grow and it's very, very exciting. So you can see that we have everything from Broadway, children's theater, ballet, Shakespeare, places like Lego Discovery Center, Botanical Gardens, Spy Museum, many of our area professional sports teams, as well as collegiate programs, are working with us. So it's really exciting to continue to grow these opportunities and make these opportunities available for your kids. I mentioned a little bit about collecting feedback. Here are a couple of examples of things that we've gotten that are meaningful. So, you know, when you're collecting that feedback from the chaperone, whoever is accompanying the children on the event, it doesn't have to be a book. A couple sentences can really say a lot. So, you know, we are a foster family. We're so glad to be able to take our kids to this game. It was one of our foster's kids' first time going to a Nats game. We really enjoyed it. Everything is so expensive these days. So getting these tickets gifted was a real treat. That's something, you know, that's valuable. That's helpful. That kind of helps define, you know, what we do and why we do it. So somebody had specifically asked about what's valuable feedback, and this is kind of what we're looking for here. And that is the end of the presentation. I,
Awesome.
wanted to keep it kind of short and simple. I'm happy to provide you with a copy of this presentation. My contact information is on here. We'll also include a link to the online application. And yeah, I think that's what we have for today. So
Perfect. We do have some questions in the chat. I also did just share the link for the portal or for the application. So some questions that we have in the chat. Can we request tickets on behalf of the families we work with?
yes, you can.
Awesome. If we volunteer with multiple organizations, do we have to choose one as our main affiliation for your system?
Each organization would need to onboard with us. You can manage that relationship with different organizations, but the reason being is that we have to vet. Part of our mission is to specifically support underserved communities. And part of that application, we ask you to provide who you are serving. And that is our due diligence. When you come on board with us, before you get your login credentials, you'll sign off on what we call our letter of agreement. So it's similar to an MOU, and it's what you're agreeing to as being part of our program. And so you agree to not share your login or request tickets for folks outside of your organization. But we welcome as many organizations that qualify to be a part of our program. And we would love to have, all of those organizations on board with us.
Perfect. Let me see, there were a few more. We work with foster children. Would a foster parent be able to attend with a child or children in their care?
Absolutely. Any trusted adult, family member, mentor, staff member, program officer, any trusted adult. You know your kids, you know who is part of their world and who's trusted. So absolutely, you can give tickets to kids to attend events with their trusted adults.
Beautiful. Is it common for events to have more than 10 tickets available, or is it more common to be under 10?
Each event is different. So we might get more than 10 tickets, but we might not be able to give every group 10 tickets, if that makes sense. So we really try and be as equitable as possible in making the ticket assignments. So I'm going to use an example for a very, very popular event every year when it comes around. We work with Disney on Ice. So Disney on Ice might come. We might get 100 tickets to Disney on Ice, but we might limit the number of tickets that you can request to that because we always get more requests than we are able to give out. So we might say each group can request up to 5 tickets for that event or up to 10 tickets for that event. So it just varies. We do get a lot of events where we get more than 10 tickets too, though. If you think baseball, if you think basketball, like these are big arenas, and we do get tickets, more than 10 tickets to many games throughout the year for those types of events.
We have a few more questions for you. If we work with a group of kids and we would want to take them to those events, but not with parents, but instead staff members, and let's say it were 10 kids, how would that work?
Well, you would request the tickets, and then you would take the kids to the event if your tickets were approved. I'm not sure.
And something I'd add on to that is that some of the events have limits as to the ratios. Some need a 1-to-1 ratio, so one adult with one young person.
Right.
Some might have different.
So sometimes the way the tickets come to us might be in sets of 2. So we might have 20 tickets to a performance for a Broadway show, but they're all in sets of 2. So as Kiana mentioned, in that case, we would need to have an adult and a child, meaning a 1-to-1 ratio, because you're going to be spread out throughout the theater. You're not all going to be sitting together. So we try and be as communicative as possible when we put that event on the portal, meaning that if there is a ratio requirement like that, we want you to know so that when you're recruiting people for the event, you know who to be looking for. And then the other part of that is we really try and be as descriptive as possible with the content for performances, especially theater, music, age appropriateness, best enjoyed by ages 5 to 8, or, only appropriate for ages, 13 plus, things of that nature. So, so you'll always see that in the event description if it is something for a specific audience.
All right. Is there a limit to how many tickets per event?
That will depend on the event.
What is the time frame in completing the feedback report?
Yes, we ask you to complete that feedback report within 5 business days.
Right.
And in order to be eligible to continue to get tickets, you have to be current on your reporting.
Perfect. Um, and if a partnership may not be possible with Tickets for Kids, is there still a way to volunteer perhaps as chaperone to events?
Not really, because the tickets are all matched to kids through partnerships with organizations that we are working with. So we don't really have volunteer opportunities, if that makes sense. We're kind of handling things behind the scenes, getting the tickets. You know, we procure those tickets and we get them matched to kids through relationships with organizations. So if your organization is not working with us, you would have to find an organization who you could work with to do that.
All right. All right. And someone share that they host therapeutic art classes for kids and parents and role models and caregivers, and they'd love to give tickets through Tickets for Kids and would love to talk to you more about that.
Great.
What's a good way for folks to contact you, Rachel?
Yes, you can reach me directly on my at my email address. So chat it.
Perfect. And while you're doing that, we do have someone that has a question they'd like to ask verbally. So Erica, feel free to come off mute.
I'm sorry if this is an obvious question, but like when you guys give a certain amount of tickets, like if there's 10, does that include the adult or chaperone that comes with?
That's not a silly question. Yes, it includes all of the people. So when you fill out your ticket request, you'll let us know. We've got 2 chaperones and 8 kids.
Okay.
2 adults and 8 kids going to the event. Then we know what the breakdown is.
Don't you have to
we-
know like beforehand, like give you the information of how many adults will be there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the reason being, we want you to confirm that the people who you're requesting tickets for are eligible to go to the event, are able and available. That really saves a whole lot of time with unused tickets or tickets that have to be returned. So it is sort of one of the key things that we ask you to do, is make sure that you have people who can attend. And then a way to mitigate the no-show tickets is if you have backup people. So maybe you only get 10 tickets, but you have 20 people who are interested. You can always put them on a backup list if you get a cancellation. So
So when you say like return tickets, so like if for some reason we find out we can't, when an emergency comes up, there's like a process so that you guys know, hey, we don't want to waste them, we can give them back.
exactly, because there's oftentimes we have to say no to some people. So we might have groups that are sort of sitting in the wings if you can't use the tickets. And, you know, our goal in a perfect world is to have 100% ticket usage if possible. We know stuff happens. Like we don't work on the weekends and the bus might break down. It happens. The key to a successful relationship between your organization and Tickets for Kids is transparency. So if that happens, please let us know so we can help manage that relationship with the donor, because they all know based on the scan rates and technology and whatnot if those tickets are used. So we really try and kind of get in front of that, and really being in partnership with you and having that close relationship and transparency helps us manage the relationship with the donors. Great. I see in the chat a quick question that are tickets distributed on a first come, first served basis? And the answer is 100% no. We really try and be thoughtful with that ticket distribution. So I'll go back to that Disney on Ice example. Let's say your group got tickets to Disney on Ice in the fall and we had to say no to a whole bunch of people in the fall. We probably, we're not going to prioritize your group in the spring. We're going to prioritize groups we had to say no to in the fall. So we can really spread that out and make sure that everybody gets access to it. Sometimes we have more tickets than we can give out. So everyone gets to get the tickets. So, you know, other than having, you know, we would have to return any unused tickets to the donor. So So that's kind of how we work. We really try and be thoughtful and be equitable in how those tickets are given out. We also understand that you guys are not just sitting in front of your computer waiting for us to send you information about tickets. So from a communication standpoint, we do send out a weekly digest talking about all of the opportunities that are available in our DMV area. So you can kind of get a snapshot of what's out there and then log in to make a request if something looks interesting. I will also point out that Tickets for Kids is a national organization and you do have access to tickets in other regions. You know, once you're a partner with us, if you want to go, let's say you're taking kids on a college visit to Pittsburgh, you might want to request tickets for a Penguins game when you're up there. You do have access and you are eligible to request tickets for tickets outside of our region.
All
I see
right.
it.
Oh, you got it.
I saw one other question about your community engagement coordinator at affordable housing, serving multiple communities. Let's talk offline about that because that's sort of a, we do have some ways to support organizations that are a little decentralized in that manner. So Jordan, I'm happy to connect with you about that.
All right, friends. Well, Rachel and I are going to hang on if anyone continues to have questions, but we will be following up with you with the slides, with the link for the application, the recording as well in the next few business days. And that email might come from someone that's not either of us, so just keep an eye out for that. But Rachel and I will continue to hang out if you have any questions. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, everybody. Really nice to meet you all. I'm excited to work with you.
Thanks. Aaron, I see your hand.
Yes, I just had a question. Where's the office or the headquarters located?
For Tickets for Kids.
Yes, ma'am.
So our headquarters is in Pittsburgh. That's where we
Okay.
were founded. I work locally here in Falls Church, just out of my home. I'm the only employee that actually works in the DMV area.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Lonnie, I saw your question in the chat. Are there any LGBTQIA Pride events?
We do not have any Pride events. There was a concert, but it was canceled.
Anyone else have any questions for us? All right. Thank you again for joining us. If anything comes up, feel free to email myself or Rachel. Rachel will be your best point of contact for Tickets for Kids, obviously. But if you have trouble finding her email or anything, I can definitely patch you on over. Thank you so much
Thanks,
for joining
everybody.
all of us.